Hey, everybody. One of the things that I'm noticing is how some wounds, some things you've gone through, some hurt, it doesn't just hurt. It changes you. It does something. You feel almost rewired. You don't talk about it. You don't really speak about it much anymore because you told everybody else that you were over it. You try not to cry about it because heaven forbid, that would be like way too much. But the reality is something in your heart, it hardened. It got really, really hard. And what if the issue isn't that you haven't moved on, but that something took root in order to help you try to survive? The Bible has a name for that. It's called bitterness. They call it the root of bitterness. And today we're talking about the only thing I know of strong enough to uproot it. It's called forgiveness. So buckle up. You're going to have to put on your big boy and big girl pants today because forgiveness is not easy. It's hard. Because the moment you talk about it, you start to think about what somebody did to you. So today's conversation is not about shouts. It's about searching. Because bitterness rarely announces itself, but it always shows up because it's going to grow fruit. And before we realize it, it shaped how you live, how you love, and how you survive. So here's what I'm going to tell you today. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to give you some real meat around practical ways to help you forgive people you thought were unforgivable. No matter what the pain is, it's something you can't ignore. You can't ignore the root of bitterness because the only person that it's really impacting, or at least the most, is you. Here's what the writer in the book of Hebrews says. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, because by it many are defiled. That's Hebrews 12:15. That word root, it matters. Roots are hidden. They draw nourishment. Whatever you feed it, that's what's going to grow. And it determines what we see in your life every day. It doesn't just affect you. It defiles everyone around you that you come in contact with. And so you have to let it go. We all know bitter people that they always just seem miserable. Their fuse is really short, hard to trust people because they've been through so much that they just don't have it in them to take any more. So I know your bitterness feels justified. I know it feels reasonable to you. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know how long they did it. You don't know how hurt I was. I understand it, but those aren't claims to fame. Your betrayal doesn't give you a license. You being wronged doesn't give you an excuse. And even though you're holding on to it, you need to know that letting it go really is the best thing for you. And here's why. Bitterness does not protect you. It keeps you emotionally in chains, tied to the person that wounded you. It keeps your offense alive, and it gives the past authority over your present. Slowly, it begins to rewrite who you are. You used to be open and outgoing. People love being around you, and now you're guarded and, hey, stay back, distant, instead of you trying to be connected. I want to help you. And today, you need to know that forgiveness is the vehicle for your freedom. So here's what forgiveness is and what it isn't. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was okay. No one is saying it was okay. No one is saying what they did to you is okay. We're not asking you to pretend it didn't matter or happen. We're not asking you to restore trust prematurely. I'm not asking you to excuse abuse or injustice or harm. Forgiveness is not reconciliation by default. That's not what the requirement is. Forgiveness is release. You're letting go of the obligation to liberate your life. This is why Jesus teaches us that when we pray in Matthew 6:12 to forgive us our debts as we forgive those who are our debtors. We are asking those who have harmed us, or we are actually giving ourselves the freedom to release that obligation. So forgiveness is choosing to not collect on what's owed. Well, why is forgiveness so hard? Forgiveness is difficult because bitterness gives us a sense of control. Here's the one thing I get to control. I get to control how what you did made me feel. So it validates our pain. It gives us the moral high ground. It lets us stay angry without having to grieve or process what we went through. But forgiveness requires grief. Grief is a loss of intimacy. It's the process of you acknowledging what you lost, what you thought you deserved but didn't receive, what may never be repaired, how you thought your mother was supposed to treat you, how you thought your father was supposed to show up for you. Forgiveness is not for the weak. It's strength with sorrow attached. Forgiveness is strength with sorrow attached. The pattern Jesus warns us about is seen in Matthew 18. Jesus tells a story about a servant forgiven for an unpayable debt, who then refuses to forgive somebody who owes him far less. The result? The unforgiving servant ends up imprisoned. That's the warning. The warning is unforgiveness doesn't punish the offender. They out there living their best life. You're the only one walking around mad and depressed and sad. Unforgiveness imprisons the wounded. Bitterness always promises power, but always delivers bondage. So here's what forgiveness actually does for you. Forgiveness does what bitterness never can. Number one, it breaks emotional bondage. Yes, it breaks emotional bondage. You stop reliving the offense of what they did to you every time that memory surfaces. It restores clarity. And you begin responding to people as they are, not as the reminder of somebody else and what someone else did to you. Think about how many relationships are impacted because we're holding other people accountable for what somebody did to us 5 years ago. Forgiveness is you trusting God with justice, even when justice feels delayed. Forgiveness always costs the one who is the forgiver something. But isn't that what Jesus did? Jesus didn't forgive from comfort. He forgave while bleeding. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Forgiveness doesn't wait for an apology. It doesn't require understanding. It flows from obedience and trust. That's what makes it redemptive. That's what makes it righteous. That's what helps make you stronger. So here's my gentle and honest invitation to you. For many of us, forgiveness isn't a moment. It's a process. Like, I need to forgive you over and over and over again. Like, I got to forgive you repeatedly because I was good on Tuesday and I woke up ticked off on Wednesday. I'm just going to keep it a stack. And so through my tears, over time, through frustration, I forgive you again. And sometimes forgiveness, although it might begin as a decision, it's a repeated choice I have to make over and over and over again. And that's okay, because healing often flows out of obedience, not the other way around. So here's my final thought. Here's the question worth you sitting with today. What root have I learned to live with that God is inviting me to uproot? because bitterness left untouched is going to redefine who you are. But forgiveness, slow, honest, authentic, consistent, and repeated, Spirit-led forgiveness, that's going to set you free. Not by erasing the past, not by ignoring it, but loosening its grip on your future. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. Forgiveness is sacred work, and it's work God never asked us to do alone. This is why he said, "Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." Let's keep having these conversations, because healing begins when truth meets grace. Until next time, God bless.